What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, Dermy Wormy, and we got some more developments in the Cleopatra disaster for Netflix. And what is the Cleopatra disaster for Netflix? Well, Egypt doesn't like it. Simple as that. And it all started here with Egyptians complain over Netflix depiction of Cleopatra as black, when, yes, Netflix is making a historical documentary. Well, drama documentary is what they're trying to say, or documentary drama, in which they portray Cleopatra as being black. Cleopatra was historically not black, and Egypt is not happy with their depiction of a queen of Egypt, Cleopatra. They're very not. You had the one man say that he's going to sue to ban Netflix from Egypt. You then had the director come out and what bothers you so much about Black Cleopatra to Egypt? That she wasn't saying this just to the audience. She was specifically writing this down to Egypt. And in this article, request Egyptians to see themselves as Africans. Well, we have another development in this ongoing disaster for Netflix. That's all this is. It's a downright disaster for Netflix because Egypt responds again. Egypt's Ministry of Tourism and Archaeology lambasts Netflix's decision to race swap Queen Cleopatra, says it competes with the simplest historical facts. And for the most part, with this article from Bounding, it starts off just giving you the great details, but unsurprisingly, given its blatant disregard of factual evidence, Netflix's announcement of the series resulted in them receiving a wave of criticism from potential audience members, the entirety of which, especially those complaints leveled by actual Egyptians, have since been condescendingly dismissed by project director Tina Govar, that I already explained. However, it seems the streaming service will no longer be able to simply plug their ears and ignore the objections to their blatant disrespect, as Egypt's own Ministry of Tourism and Archaeology recently joined the conversation themselves to offer a scathing rebuke of Queen Cleopatra's self-important rhetoric. Cleopatra's self-important rhetoric. In a statement published to their official Facebook page on April 27th, the ministry explained that as per the nation's Secretary General and the Supreme Council of Archaeology, I butcher this, Mustafa Waziri, via Meta's automatic translation tool, the appearance of the heroine in this body is a falsification of Egyptian history and a blatant historical misconception, especially because the film is classified as a documentary and not a drama, a classification which requires the owners of the industry to investigate accuracy and refer to historical and scientific facts in order to ensure that the history of the civilization of peoples is not falsified. They are big mad. I don't blame them. I 100% don't blame Egyptians for being furious with this, because this is Egypt's history. This is the history of Egypt. It's no different than going to, sub-Saharan Africa, going to one of the savannah the tribes or something, taking the woman king, for instance, and making her white. Okay, that's how it is for them. She was a queen of Egypt. They know her better than anybody else, and taking this and trying to race change her makes no sense, because there's other African queens that were actually black that you could portray. Or because, hey, the show's called African Queens, make her actually look respectful because she was a queen of Egypt. But no, you want to insert your political ideology. That's what this article was just filled of, was her admitting that it's just for their politics that they're changing her. They're not changing her for any legitimate reason. It's just political and Afrocentrism. That's why people are mad. That's why people look at this with some sort of disgrace, not because of the actress, but because of what you did to Cleopatra. Cleopatra was for Grecian queen, well, Mesopotamian, Egyptian queen. No, not Mesopotamian. I always get it wrong. I always want to say Mesopotamian. Macedonian, not Mesopotamian. Probably Macedonian's wrong too. Anyways, she wasn't black. She was Grecian, and I usually argue probably looked more like Gal Gadot simply because of tan. That's the whole reason I say that. There's other depictions that show her as actually being white, but I argue maybe tannish due to the sun and just how that stuff works. That's my whole argument. But they post this entire thread, and we'll go through some of it. Wazari added that the archaeologists and anthropologists should have been referred to when making such kind of documentary and historical films that will remain a witness of civilization and history of nations. The government body continued, noting that there are many Queen Cleopatra's artifacts and depictions on coins that confirm its true shape and features, which they all show of Queen Cleopatra's Hellenic Greek features in terms of light complexion, drawn nose, and fluffy lips. He also says that the state of rejection that the film witnessed before its screening comes from the heart of defending the history of Queen Cleopatra, the, I think, seventh? I'm awful with Roman numerals, which is an important and authentic part of ancient Egyptian history, and away from an authentic racism. Certainly on the full respect of African civilization and our brothers in African continent that unites us all, wrote the ministry. I like this. They're just laying it down flat. It's not about racism. What you guys are doing is racist. This is about our history. You are disrespecting our history. You are disrespecting our past, our culture, our heritage, just for your political reasonings. And like I said, I don't think they go into it here. There are other actual queens of Africa. The Woman King, for instance, you could tell that story more accurate. There's other tribal queens. There's other individuals throughout Africa you could have done this show on that would have been interesting, cool, and no backlash. No, you wanted to insert yourself into Queen Cleopatra, one of the most famous queens of Africa, one of the most famous, well, in Africa, queens of Egypt, and change her for no valid reason. Turning it to another expert, the ministry then cited Cairo University Egyptian Department of Archaeology head Dr. Nazar, I'm going to butcher this one, Mekawi? Nazar Mekawi, I think, noting how he'd had likewise declared that Queen Cleopatra's appearance in this film and in this body competes with the simplest historical facts and the writings of the historians such as Plutarchus and Diocasis, I probably butchered those names, who recorded the events of Roman history in Egypt and the reign of Queen Cleopatra, and affirmed that she was light-skinned and that she is of pure Macedonian origins. That's an important part. Why is that important? Because the director said, well, obviously she probably would have, her father could have been mated with African women. That's why she could be black, that's a whole argument there. But it says that she was pure Macedonian. She was pure Grecian, Roman, what have you. Now, again, my argument is more along the lines of Gal Gadot, mainly because it's just tanning. That's my whole reasoning. I could very much be wrong. I just argue tanning. That's the only thing. Makawi pointed out that the Queen Cleopatra, I think the 7th, descended from an ancient Macedonian dynasty that ruled Egypt for nearly 300 years, founded by King Ptolemy I'll probably butcher the first, and Macedonian leader of the army of Alexander the Great, to which the state of Egypt came after the death of Alexander and founded the Bartholomean family. They elaborated Bartholomeus the First. That I is throwing me off. Married Queen I'm gonna butcher this. Bernike I, also Macedonian descendant, and King Bartholomeus II, where after him his sons and grandchildren continued to mate from their family sisters in accordance with customs of this era, with the arrival of Queen Cleopatra VII and her brother Bartholomeus XIV, maintaining the purity of the Macedonian race throughout this time period. This is actually historically accurate. This is what they're laying out. She was inbred, and she was pure Macedonian. Again, I just argue the tanning part, but that's where I come from, son, stuff like that. Egypt's just laying it out. They continue to lay it out. They even bring up DNA. They bring up photographs. They do everything to just refute this depiction. And they have a valid reason. It is inaccurate. It is not true. You are doing a disservice to Cleopatra, and you're pulling a racism. You tokenize Cleopatra. That's not okay. And they're letting you know about it. I kind of hope that Netflix does get banned in Egypt because of this, because I would laugh. But I'm going to leave it there, folks. If you want to finish all this, you can. It's over on the banning article. It's a long, long piece. But in the meantime, guys, let me know what your thoughts about this all down in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it out with friends, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video and go live, guys. And I'll see you all on the next one. Bye for now.
Factor